All right, we are live. Hello and welcome everybody. We do this every Wednesday, 1 p.m. California time. And today for me, it's 4 p.m. Because I'm in East Coast. And Samir is with us. Samir is immigration lawyer. Samir, do you want to do a quick intro for people who don't know you
Yeah.
yet?
Hi. Thank you, Yudi. Hi, I'm Samir, everyone. I'm on the West Coast, immigration lawyer here in Silicon Valley. And well, how are things you're in North Carolina? How are
Uh,
things there?
Not bad. I think weather is as good as San Francisco or San Diego weather. So it's nice 70s over here. So it's pretty good. And yeah, in case if I'm choppy for the audience, like it's because I'm using hotel Wi-Fi. So I don't know how good it is going to be, but we'll continue to use the audio. And then Samir can take it over. He doesn't need me.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I am a little happy this week. You want to know why?
Yes, I do.
Well, I'm not 100% happy, but there are indications that it looks like the NTA process might be coming to a close, at
Nice.
least for those in H1B status or in
Mm,
kind of similar situations. So,
okay.
feeling a little hopeful. Remains to be seen, but things are looking a little
how
better.
how come, what gives you this like hope?
Well, I mean, there have been, another firm has been posting a video about this communications they've had with USCIS about, why is this happening, and um, don't know if they got a response from USCIS on it, but we have been hearing through some channels that it might have been a training issue on their part, that they weren't actually trying to do NTAs for everybody who was who had an H1B withdrawn. That it was some sort of technical or staff training issue that caused this. So those are the rumors. We're not entirely sure if it's true or not, but we have seen the volume of NTAs kind of trickle down
Mhm.
considerably. So we're hoping that was the case, and in fact, it was some sort of training issue, and hopefully they're fixing it.
Wow, weird training issues. So
Well, pretty like substantial one to have such an impact on people's lives too. But I mean, they
right,
have so much power in their hands, right?
yeah, yeah. And so are you seeing less people reaching out to you about NTA? Yeah, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and in the chatter that we're hearing, kind of around the country, is that less and less people are getting them. So,
Hmm,
so
nice.
we're hoping that's the truth, and we'll
Yeah.
we'll definitely kind of keep our eyes open and let
But
you
the weird
know.
part is, like, if it was the issue, then they should have let judges know that, hey, we
Uh,
this is a training issue, and then just accept the motion to terminate it.
oh, I mean, there are lots of should-haves and would-haves here. I mean that's, but see, this highlights just how disorganized and backwards the system is because USCIS does not talk to the immigration courts. Like they're
Yeah.
all part of the same overall Department of Justice, but they might as well be on two different planets
Mm.
for all the lack of communication that happens between the two of them. And then secondly, even if it was a training issue, then why are ICE attorneys contesting our motion to terminate the case? Right? Nobody
Mm.
gave them the memo either, and
Yeah.
their government's own attorneys didn't even know. So it's just pure chaos right now.
Yeah.
And one hand does not know what the other is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about H1B wage-based selection? Is that still in the commenting phase?
That's
Anything?
still kind of it's still in that phase. The more kind of I think about it, the more I kind of look into this, I feel like it's going to get overturned in court because I don't think, see, Congress is the one that gets to set the terms of the lottery. Like it's their rule that created the quota and the
Mm.
mechanism for which people are selected. I
Yeah.
think the language is pretty clear that it's first come, first serve based on a lottery. And so I don't see how they can incorporate the whole wage based, component into it. But I mean, even the courts are doing things that we haven't predicted in the past. So I guess we're going to see. I mean, it's certainly going to go to court. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, I've been also getting this same news, WhatsApp news, I would say, shutting down H1B legally or illegally. What precautions can one take to avoid job and status loss before this happens in the future? Have you heard of this?
Is this like the world is coming to an end? Like this, the same places that were getting those messages, like
Yeah.
an asteroid's coming. There is an asteroid coming. Have you been seeing these? I can't tell if this is true on my feed now. There's some sort of like there's some sort of object in space. It's hurtling towards Earth, like it's past Jupiter now. It's approaching Mars, and apparently scientists are convinced that it's not a natural, like it's man-made.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, it's just I bring that up because it's kind of one of those stories where like it's just
Yeah.
right.
Right.
What's going on here, right?
Yeah.
You can't just unilaterally stop the H1B program. No. Like I said, there's some things that Congress created, right? And the U.S. government only has, or the executive branch, which is USCIS and the president, their only job is to execute on it. They don't have the power to cancel it.
Right.
So, but I don't know what the genesis of that is, what that is. I do know that there has been a lot of negative press about the H1B. Even Governor DeSantis from Florida, so for some reason, spoke out against it over a few days ago.
So, that's what he's talking
about. Yeah. So a state governor can't stop H1Bs, right? But
unless he's trying to be, vouching himself for president for next term.
Almost certainly he will be, because I mean that's going to be a certainty. Yeah, I mean maybe what he's saying is that the state of Florida will no longer hire H1Bs. I don't know if that's what he's saying. I have no idea. I have not been following the news on that. And if that's the case, sure, he can say that. It's just like any company, like Microsoft can say we're no longer hiring H1Bs.
Right. Yeah.
That's just a decision the organization makes, right? Yeah. But you can't cancel it wholesale around the country, especially if you're a state governor.
Yeah. So H1B wage-based selection rule is still in the commenting phase, and then the same for the 4-year new DHS rule for the students, that they want to limit and put a hard limit to duration of status to 4 year. That is also in the commenting phase. Nice. No new updates on that one, right?
No updates on those two items. No.
Okay. And then finally, before we move on to the Q&A, all those fat books behind you, do you actually read them, or is it just like...
I just have them here to make me look smarter than I really am.
That's what I thought.
But
law books?
They used to be, I used to read them. I mean, in the days before AI, when we couldn't easily find answers online, but before the big green one in the middle was and is our Bible, our immigration Bible for immigration lawyers. It's called the Kurzban book, and it has everything you need to know about immigration in there, at least from a kind of a legal perspective. And so everything I learned is from that book. So I have to give that book and that man, Ira Kurzban, who is a very famous immigration lawyer from Miami, give him credit. He's a legend and a celebrity in our field.
Nice. Okay, great. Has AI impacted positive or negative in law firms, like your
positive? Yeah, I mean, there's certainly tools and research tools and kind of drafting tools out there that are working really well, efficiency tools for law firms. I would say there's some systems that are helping with the research. Negatively, I feel like the government's using it. USCIS is using it now to draft RFEs, and I think maybe my theory. I have no basis for this, of course, because I'm not talking to anybody at USCIS, and they're not going to talk to me. But I believe this whole NTA thing might have been like an AI kind of mishap, gone haywire. Yeah, so they're certainly going to use it now if they're going to challenge 500,000 visas going back in history. I mean, they have to use something, right? So every indication, and they've said this. They said this last year. They're going to use AI first and foremost as just kind of like to ensure security, to locate fraud, all the different things that they're doing to make sure nobody's doing stuff illegally. Is the number one way they're using AI right now. But they just use it in a way that's it's a really broad stroke, right? Like it's like a lot of people who are not doing anything wrong are getting swept up in this net, which is unfortunate. They're not using it very tactically or with any precision, right?
I saw a business of AI for immigration. Basically, what they are doing is they are selling it to the students, F1 students, as if they will clear their social media. So it'll give you a score of how risky your social media presence is, and then offer you services if you want to clear it. I was like, wow, like it didn't take that long for someone to come up with a business.
That's pretty impressive. That was really quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder how. I mean, I think I wonder how attractive that'll be. I feel like people have a pretty good sense of what their own social media should look like, right? So I don't know if
Right.
they're going to need AI, but that's an interesting concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We will get into the Q&A. We have lots of questions, 200 plus people. So here we go. You ready for your math hats?
I think it's
H1B.
more of an NTA question, so I think we're okay for now.
Nice. Okay. H1B extension filed on authorized stay period. If I get an NTA, will my employer be notified if judge denies dismissal of NTA case? If I offer voluntary exit from, can I come after my petition is approved?
So basically, I guess the question is, you're worried about you lose your job, which we hear there's more layoffs happening, pretty soon. Large company that I will not name this month, but there's going to be a lot of them, right? So people are losing their jobs, and they're in their grace period. I think that's what you mean by authorized stay. So the 60-day grace period, right? If you get the NTA, and like I said, I'm not sure they're going to continue. Like, we're hoping that they've stopped, but we're not 100% sure yet. We'll see. But it looks like they're slowing down, if not stopping. So if you do get an NTA, will your employer be notified? No. Well, actually, I take that back. Sometimes the employers are getting them. The employer's lawyers are getting them, which is weird. But it's like, it's they have those lawyers have the responsibility to let you know. So you'll almost certainly find out about that if that's the case, right?
Yeah.
But you can also check on the EOIR site, the website, right, to enter a number to check if you have an NTA. Okay. Now fast forward, going to worst case, if the judge denies the dismissal of your NTA. So basically you're in removal proceedings, judge is refusing to let the case go. You're saying, can I leave the US? Can I get permission to leave the US voluntarily and then come back after I can get my H1B approved? And the answer is typically yes. It's called voluntary departure. Voluntary departure is something that you negotiate with the immigration court. You tell them, I'm going to leave in X number of days. Here's my ticket. Will you give me permission to leave? And in most cases, they'll say yes. And you will not have, in most cases, you will not have accrued unlawful presence, right? And there may be this record that goes with you. So the consular process could be a bit of a mess, as it is probably going to be for anybody who got NTAs up until now, even if they got the case dismissed, right? Reentry may be a little choppy. We don't know how this is going to be. But typically, yes, you can do that. By the way, but if you get a petition approved while you're in the U.S. and your H-1B status is approved, then that is a mandatory grounds for termination of the case. So if you're here and that happens, then the judge won't dismiss it. The judge will dismiss it.
Yeah.
He won't deny the dismissal. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Will there be any issues if I go for a H1B stamping interview with approved I-140 from a different employer through EB3? This will be my first H1B stamping.
No issues at all. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm with employer A and my stamp OPT is pending. Now I have a great offer from employer B, which I can't resist. Now the question is, do I have to apply for premium and then change employer, or contact DSO and have them update the service and upload the new I-983 and offer letter in unsolicited?
Well, congratulations. I love hearing stories like that, especially in times like this where the market seems to be so tough. So that's great. Congrats to you. And I don't believe there's a mechanism to update, do a change of employer within the STEM OPT construct, aside from just notifying your school. So notify your DSL and ask them for instructions.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question. I have H1B I-797B approved and not stamped. Can I get it transferred even without getting stamped? I've heard it is possible.
I guess it depends on what you mean by not stamped. Like, I'm not sure you're using it in the way that we would use it. So I want to make sure I fully understand what it is you mean by that. If you have an I-797 approved, that's a change of status, okay, then in about a month, it's going to go into effect, right? Once it goes into effect, and then you are an H1B status, right? Then you can transfer it to another employer once you've acquired it. You can't transfer something you don't have, right? You don't have it until October 1st. So, and then when you have like maybe one pay cycle under you, you can transfer it to another employer. The stamping that we talk about is usually visa stamping, the stamp in your passport. That is only for travel. That has nothing to do with your ability to live here or transfer employers. So I hope that answers your question.
And if it's consular processing, then it changes.
If it's consular processing, then you need to activate it and come back in. So maybe that's the question here. If it's consular processing, you have to get a stamp, H1 stamp, then come to the U.S. to work for that employer, right? And then you can transfer it to another employer.
Yeah. Okay. Got RFE on H1B cap exempt petition. They need information of my status with the gap between grace period to B2 application pending. What should I do? Are there any chances to get approved?
This is probably something you have to go talk to somebody about who can look at your case history and give you the correct answer, because it wouldn't be wise of me to give you advice without knowing all the facts here. I could really ruin you, or anybody can ruin you for that matter. So be careful about these kinds of questions. Make sure you get somebody to professional to really close look at your file, okay? Because there's some just details, data, specifics that we need to know to give you the answer here.
So this person can schedule consultation with you guys?
Of course, absolutely. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Have you seen any issues with B2 to H1B change of status?
Change of status. B2 to H1B change of status. Oh, I see. Are we talking about in the context of you had an H1B, then you went to B2 in the grace period and coming back to H1B?
That's
that's likely So we're talking about a pending B2 case to H1B, which is, what almost everybody's trying to do, right? And we mostly have seen them approved. We've seen a couple RFEs here and there.
RFEs, but not denial.
Not yet, no. Okay. But the RFEs are recent, so we haven't seen the end result of those cases yet.
Okay. I've heard people say to prepare for O1 visa from the get-go, but how hard is it to get an H1B visa? As H1B visa base seems flimsy. So how hard is it to get O1 visa? Well, we did the whole masterclass, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we can take that whole masterclass and summarize it in one sentence here for you. Yeah, it's not easy. That being said, have you looked at the nationwide approval rates for the O1? They're in the 90s. Look it up. It's publicly available data.
And your form is 100%. That was very impressive when you said it.
Thank you very much. But the thing is, you have to it's hard to qualify to be in the running. Once you're in the running, most cases get approved. So rethink what it means to you about to be in the running. It's actually not as hard as you think it might be. Okay. Take a look at our masterclass. I don't know if there's a recording out there. There's lots of videos that we've done on this, because it's not something we can just discuss in 1 minute. But definitely, look more into this, because it's more accessible than you might think. Not as accessible as the H1B in terms of like the legal requirements. The H1B is a lot easier. Yeah. But H1B is easier, but harder to get because of the lottery, right? So that's not always available.
Yeah.
But in terms of like
not predictable
to qualify, yeah.
Okay, I'm on day 53 of my grace period. My next employer filed the LCA last Friday, and it is estimated to file the H1B petition by day 58. They advised against filing a change of status before day 59 and to revisit on day 59 if a bridge petition is still needed. What are the implications of if the H1B petition receives an RFE?
Oh, I can just sense the anxiety in this person. I understand. And let me tell you something about it from a law firm or a lawyer's perspective. The anxiety that you naturally feel if you act on it can actually mess us up and mess your case up, because you may take an action that, I'm not saying you're doing this, but you take an action that the lawyer has told you not to do. Like, there's a reason why lawyers are telling you not to file for a B2 or a change of status. Okay. because like that'll make getting an H1B harder, and they believe they can get it filed. Okay, so I would ask two things of them. Number one, what is the drop dead date and time that you will have confirmation you filed the H1B? If not, I'm filing a B2. Tell them that. Okay. That is typically what we do. We say, if we don't file the H1B by this day at this time, you go online and file the B2. Secondly, ask them, how are they filing the H1B? Are they filing it online? Because if they file it online, they get an immediate receipt notice, right? Versus filing by paper, like I think most firms are still filing by paper. And then it's 90% they'll get a receipt notice, but sometimes their mistakes are made, whether by the law firm or by the mailroom, right? And they might improperly reject the filing, right? So that's the downside to waiting to the last second. Not that they have any choice here, but ask them those questions, right? And talk to them about like what you should do to guard yourself, protect yourself against that situation. Then if you do have a bridge petition and you have an RFE, it just depends on the RFE. You'll have to work with the law firm on that. It really depends on what the government's asking for. Like I said, they're mostly getting approved.
Yeah. Nice. What is the wage ceiling in wage-based H1B regulation? Huh?
It's too early. Yeah, we don't have the final rule, and we haven't even started the litigation yet on it. So, but it's just going to be, as far as I understand it right now, what their intention is, they're just going to ask the company to say, as part of the H1B lottery registration, what are you going to pay your employee? And the highest ones get first dibs. Right? Yeah. So,
can reference letter from non-earning early stage startup CEOs, not employers, stating volunteering contribution to raise funds and get projects be helpful as a third party unrelated referral? What?
Oh. Wow, that's a lot of words. This is when we can drop into GPT and ask them to make it more concise. Simplify this for me, please. I don't know what this means. I think, are you talking about reference letters for O1s and
EB1? I think his previous question was Mr. High salary and judging criteria are not applicable to my case. Which of the other 6 criteria would you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, is that the same person?
Yeah.
Could you go back? Okay, so he's basically, I think what he's saying, he's a non-earning early stage startup CEO. Is that what he is? No, I'm confused.
A CEO. Yeah.
He wants a letter from them. Yeah. Why don't you come talk to me for an assessment? We do free EB1 and O1 assessments, and we can't answer this question or even your next one in a vacuum. Well, we have to understand kind of what your overall profile looks like first. So,
right.
So why don't you reach out? We'd be happy to help you.
Nice. Can I update DS 160 after booking H1B visa interview?
No, you have to you do another one. And I believe you have to, you have to do another one. I believe there's a new process now. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's out there. You may have to book another interview. I'm not sure if you have to or not. But I think you have to complete a new DS 160 for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'm holding L1B visa with employer A. Currently, my H1B petition is pending and it's filed by employer B. If my H1B petition gets approved post-October, will my L1B status be invalidated on the same day? That's a good question.
Yeah, if it depends on, so I'm assuming this is a lottery case.
Yeah.
Another company entered you in the lottery, a company that's different than who you're working for right now under L1. So if that's the case, and they filed for a change of status versus consular notification. If it's a change of status, then yes, your L1 is going to be invalidated on October 1st. And you have to go work for employer B.
Yeah. So because
if it's consular, then it's invalidated when you choose, when you decide to go to your home country, get a stamp, and come back in.
Yeah, because if it's change of status, then October 1st is he cannot be working for employer A, like his L1B employer.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. F1 changes and H1B changes from Trump administration are welcome. Student needs to come to study, not cross. Okay, oh, that's a statement. I'm currently
By the way,
enrolled.
that was a protest right there. That was a protest against something, a protest against other protesters. Just want to point that out. We should all be able to protest.
Yeah.
That's what this country is about.
Yes.
It's called the First Amendment, right? So,
yeah. I'm currently enrolled in my second master's day one CPT that ends next year. I'm wondering if it's a good idea to move to a PhD day one CPT program before the new rule comes into effect.
I mean, I don't know. We don't have a sense what the new rule is yet. We have a sense of what it might be. We don't know what the implications are to CPT. So you'd be making a move without all the information. And as lawyers, we can't do that. We can't do that to you, right? We can just kind of tell you where we see this going, and you may want to consider getting your ducks in a row to make such a move, just in case, right? Now, we also don't know if you're already enrolled, are you grandfathered? You could be grandfathered in, and this new rule could be applied only to those that are choosing to, do day one CPT in the same level as before, but in the future, right? So we just don't know, unfortunately.
Okay. Again, probably we don't know the answer is my guess. Under the new proposed rule, will F1 visa need to be renewed after their expiration?
Well, that's the main part of it, right? So remember, let's distinguish between F1 visa stamps and F1 status. Okay, just to be technically precise, right? The new rule is about F1 status, right? Your status in the US. Okay. And it's supposed to expire after 4 years. That's the new proposed rule, not new rule. So under the new proposed rule, it's 4-year expiration, right? So you would have to renew it. You would have to extend it if you wanted to stay in school longer, go to a higher level program, etc. I mean, what about PhDs? Like, what PhD program do you know lasts 4 years?
Yeah.
Like if you're like this brilliant scientist and you're like, I was admitted to MIT for a PhD program. We're only giving you 4 years. Like, what does that even mean? And why are we doing that? It makes no sense. In any case, and they talked about why they're doing it. Sorry, I'm going off on a rant here. They said there's a group of students who are just kind of staying in F1 status, and they're seemingly staying in F1 status forever. And it's a big problem, and they have to do something about it. But then they give you the numbers in the same comment, and it's like less than 1% of the student visa population.
Wow.
So this whole rule is being made to address a small segment of people, right? Which kind of goes to show you, it just does not make any sense at all. Now, that being said, you would have to renew your status, right? Your visa stamp is generally going to line up. I mean, that expiration is going to be determined by the consulate, right? And they're probably just going to make the visas expire on the same date that your status would expire, or some version of that, depending on what country you're from. People from different countries have different reciprocity rules. Like Chinese students, unfortunately, they get it even worse. So it really just depends on when it comes to visa stamps.
Yeah. Okay. Is it safe to go for O1 stamping with I-140 EB2 national interest waiver pending? I have no history of immigration issues. I was previously on H1B cap exempt.
Mm-hmm. So this is a good question. So why is he asking that question? Because unlike the H1B, most visas are not dual intent visas, right? What does dual intent mean? It means I can have the intent to return home, or I can have the intent to get a green card, right? An H1B is a dual intent visa, which is why you never have issues about what is your intent when you're going for an H1B stamp, right? Same with the L1. Those are the two dual intent. Now the O1 is kind of like in between, okay? It's kind of dual intent and kind of not. And for these purposes, it's not. It's not dual intent at the consulates, okay? So some consulates are a lot harder on this issue than others. So while I can't give you a specific answer, because I don't know what country you're from, what consulate you're going to, and what the current trends at those consulates are, I also don't know if your NIW, the NIW is pending, okay? So you'll have to report that on your DS-160. So they're going to know about it. So there's this chance that they'll hold that against you as immigrant intent. depending on many factors, and they'll have the discretion. They're going to use their own just kind of judgment to determine whether or not they think personally you are a threat to stay longer than the term of your O1. Okay, so stamping can be a little risky. In my experience, we've been able to do it, but it depends on where you're from. Like the Eastern European countries that are at all related, even geographically, not politically, to the war, because people are trying to flee, right? All those consuls are like, you don't want to come back. We're going to deny this visa.
Yeah.
Africa, like they're denying them for some reason. So it really just depends. If you end up going in, make sure you take with you proof of your intent to return to your home country once your O1 visa is complete. And proof can be documentary. At the end of the day, it's what you say and how you say it to the officer. What is your story? Why are you going to go back? Right? You have to be prepared to answer that question well.
So it's almost like F1 visa where you have to show the strong ties to your country.
It can be. So it's in between. Like it's not absolute like the F1. Kind of in between. And some consulates, and within some consulates, some consular officers right harp on this, right?
Yeah.
And others don't. Like you just don't know.
Okay. All right. By when can we expect the H1B case approval for 2025 initial H1B petition? Does it come before October 1st?
Well, if you haven't gotten the approval, that means your employer did not spring for premium processing, because everybody who's gotten premium processing has got their cases approved. So then it's just a matter of case processing times. If you Google USCIS processing times, it'll run you through a wizard, and it'll tell you, where's your case filed? What kind of case do you have? And it'll tell you how long they're taking. So not guaranteed to happen before October 1st. And by the way, if you have an F1, right, if you have OPT that expires, but you're on CAP, you can only work until September 30th. So a pending H1B can keep you here, but you can't work until the H1B is approved.
Oh, interesting.
So, right.
Can they now do premium processing?
Of course, they can. They can do it anytime. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And premium processing is what, like 14 days, 14 business days?
It's 15 business days. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So if they do it now, they will most likely be able to get it before October 1st. Yeah. If it gets approved, I guess that's another thing. Can I get back my abandoned green card, especially if it was more than 20 years ago?
It reminds me of that. It's not as serious as that one guy who lost his Bitcoin key. You heard about that guy?
Yeah.
He has like one more chance to like figure it out. Oh my God. And it's worth like millions and millions of dollars. I don't know why this reminded me of that, but yeah, this is, yeah, there are ways. It's called a returning resident petition. If you Google it, you can see that it's something that you apply to a consulate for, and you have to prove to them, and they have to agree that you lost the green card through no fault of your own. So if it was 20 years ago and you're youngish, it's possible that it was your parents that made that decision for you and not you, right? We actually use that as a basis to get somebody the green card back. What was funny, it was a family, right? And there was the son and daughter who had now since have grown and wanted to move here. And we got the daughter a green card, but the son got denied. And the dad said, well, my daughter's always getting things approved because she's beautiful and nobody cares about the son. So he kept getting things denied. So there's no rhyme or reason to any of this. Okay. But that's if you look up returning resident, that would be the process.
Is this something you guys can help or no?
It's not something we do, but lots of law firms do these.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've done them in the past. We don't do them anymore as a matter of rule.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Got my H1B extension approved 2 days ago, but my I-94 online not showing updated except by date. Do I need to go out of US and come back to get it updated?
Okay. So we talked about this last week, right? And this is worth remembering, worth reminding you that there's two different places your I-94 appears. Okay. There's online and there's on the I-797. Okay. They both don't have to have the same information on it. Okay. Whatever happened later in time is the one that controls. Okay. So in this case, The extension, the I-797, happened later in time. So that date on your paper I-797 controls. Okay. Government records internally, their internal records will have the same data, the expiration as your I-797, right? The website is only updated when you travel. There's no requirement that you keep the website date to be the same as a paper date. So don't do that. Don't travel just to update it. But if you do travel and you come back in, and what if you're shortchanged on that I-94, online I-94? If it happens after the I-797, then it controls, and suddenly your expiration date changes. You have to. It's very confusing. I don't know why they do it. The more I talk about this, like, the more I realize, like, what, this is such a dumb system. Like, what are they doing? This is another way, and this is even, this has been the case for 10, 12 years now, right?
I mean, how hard would it be for them to just update that? Like, it doesn't make sense for them to not update it.
But what is the theme of today's conversation? Like, they invest nothing into systems to make their communication to you be efficient and sensible. Every cent that they have, right, that they spend is based on enforcement. It's based on, it's performative. It's like how can I show that I'm being hard on immigrants and weeding out fraud and corruption? So even if they're not really doing it well. And this is agnostic of administrations, by the way. This is just how USCIS has been. Now, I mean, right now it's like kind of amped up on steroids, but essentially this is kind of always how they've been.
But USCIS doesn't get funding from Fed, right? Like they
No.
have that.
Well, that's the main problem. Okay, they're not accountable to anybody because they're almost 100% funded by your filing fees that you pay. So every other agency gets funded through the annual federal budget. When you're funded through the budget, then Congress has oversight of you. And if you mess around, Congress will know and they'll come back, right? Because their constituents are going to tell them about it, right? So, but here, Congress has very little oversight over USCIS because they don't give them any money. Barely.
Okay. Do you help with international entrepreneur rule application for those on H1B currently?
We do. There are very few and far between, and the reason for that is it's a practical matter. They're very difficult to maneuver, and it's kind of a last case resort for people that don't have other options for them. And if you have an H1B, I would almost always say do the H1B for yourself than the IEP. Okay, it's faster. It gives you more flexibility, right? It's status versus authorized stay. I mean, the IEP is not a visa. It doesn't give you status. It gives you like a parole, like authorized stay, which if there's one thing we've learned in this administration right now, that's not very secure, right? No. So I would look at any visa options that you might have. This is the same person I was asking about the O1.
Yeah.
Send me an assessment request. We'll talk. I bet there's other things you can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have EB2 approved with priority date of 10/20/2021 and working towards building EB1 profile. If I file EB1 in future, can I reduce the priority date?
Yes.
Okay. There is a news on Blind that they are working to end H4 EAD by regulation next month. Please tell us how that can happen.
Google this. H4 EAD has been under attack since Obama implemented it. Okay. And it's survived every battle, including it. There might be another court battle, they keep attacking it, and it's survived every court battle. So it's very difficult to end a regulation. You have to go through such an extensive process that makes it almost untenable, which is why those that are against H4 EADs have been trying to fight it in the courts, and they've been losing too. So it might happen. I don't see it happening that quickly. If it's going to happen, it's going to take many, many months, if not years. End of the day, I don't see them winning that battle. I think it's here to stay.
Nice. Okay. I would like to know whether the academic H1B lottery exempted due to non-profit organization will be also affected by $150,000 minimum wage.
Yeah, no, this is a good question. As far as we can tell, no, because the whole point of the salary is to determine who gets into the H1B cap lottery in the first place, right? But if you're an academic H1B at a cap exempt institution, that's not a problem for you, right? So I don't know if that's going to be a kind of barrier to entry for you, but we don't know for sure because the rule's not final yet.
Yeah. Okay. I am on STEM OPT right now, and next year would be my last attempt. If I work for non-profit organization, get cap exempt H1B, would I still be able to transition into O1 or EB1?
Sure. Why not? Right. The kind of H1B you have doesn't impact your ability to get other options. The O1 and EB1 is all about your accomplishments and your standing in the field and whether or not you can be labeled extraordinary. Now, as a practical matter, it could be a little bit easier if you're working for a for-profit, right? And maybe you're getting paid a high salary, making high compensation, which is one of the components. Or you have a critical role and you're able to better demonstrate the impact of your work at a for-profit, or not. It really just depends. But there isn't a rule that says you can't do O1, EB1 just because you work for a cap exempt. Okay. And by the way, it has to be a nonprofit research organization, not just a nonprofit. Okay. The simple nonprofits that don't do any research as a primary kind of mission are not eligible for cap exempt H1Bs. And so if it's a research organization, then maybe you're doing a lot of research, which then would help. It might actually position you better for an O1 or EB1 than somebody who's working for a for-profit. So it really just depends.
Yeah. Okay. Me and my daughter have filed for family-based green card in 2021. My I-30 is approved. My daughter received her green card in March. My 485 interview was scheduled for May 1st, 2025. Still no result. What to do next?
Do you have a lawyer helping you? Lawyers can file inquiries to USCIS. You can send inquiries to them too, sending them letters. The local office, if you had the interview, I assume you attended, and you're waiting for the result, you can send that office that you attended the interview at, you can send them letters and ask them for updates. But short of that, you can call USCIS customer service and ask them to contact the local office for you, ask for updates from them. That's short of that, there's not much more you can do.
Okay. My H1B is in processing from employer A for change of status. I got an offer from employer B for full-time. Can I join employer B because it's full-time and good pay?
As opposed to employer A, which is part-time and terrible pay. So these are H1B bridge petitions, like transfer petition, like bridge transfer process. And in theory, hold on, is the first H1B a cap H1B? So I need to know that. Like, are you in H1B status right now, or are you an LPT and you're going to change to H1B on October 1st? So maybe they can come back and answer that question, and then I can answer this one.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that one. Okay, I'm on H1B. Visa stamp expired, but valid I-797A with I-94 till March 2027. Planning to visit Laredo, Texas. Will I face any issue with CBP at the airport or checkpoints on I-35 returning to Houston?
You don't. That's. Hey, I understand like your anxiety here. That's a different world down there when it comes to checkpoints and CBP and ICE and everything that's going on right now. That being said, when you're in the boundaries of the U.S., you don't need a visa stamp, right? So what you need to make sure you do is take your original I-797 with you, okay, and proof of your employment. You need to keep that on you at all times in case you do get stopped.
Okay. Can someone share the commenting forum? Okay, not for us. Will person receive physical NTA letter? Is there any way other than checking website, which you had mentioned for NTA? Not comfortable checking on website as US government, maybe checking the details of users. Oh my gosh.
Wow. I don't know what to tell you. That's the system that we have, and I have no indication.
Yeah, I mean, these are the only two ways, right? Either letter or the website.
That's correct. Yeah.
I have my H1B stamped on December 2022, and visa is expired on September 2025. Will I be eligible to travel back to US with petition extension?
I mean, you have to get your the point is, once your petition is approved, you have to have an approved petition. Okay, number one, and you have to have a visa stamp that's unexpired. Number two. So just plug that into whatever dates you're contemplating travel, and you'll know what you need to do. If your petition's approved and your visa stamp's expired, then you have to get a new visa stamp to come back in.
From your experience, how long do you think it'll take visa bulletin to move from April 2023 to April 2024 for EB3, not for India, Mexico, China, etc.? Oh, so different country, not not for India.
Yeah, so basically the question is EB3 kind of rest of the world. How long will it take to go? About 1 year, right? It's going to take more than 1 year. It's probably going to take 2 to 3 years if I had to estimate it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad compared to what Indians would have to go through. Yeah.
Wow, but it's bad. For anybody's going through this, like it's all relative. This is bad for you, right? So
right. Yeah.
But yeah, Indians have it terribly.
H1B renewal filed with amendment, same client. Should I be concerned working on receipt notice? Do you suggest premium?
It depends on whether or not the first H1B was expired. It has since expired, right? Did they file for an amendment and extension? I think you should be fine, but you should probably get a consultation to make sure, because we, for example, would need to look at all of your approval notices and your receipt notice and understand what the amendment was for, and understand many things to give you accurate legal advice here.
Yeah. Does following the advice related to jobs from channel like yours cause issues during visa approval as they check social media?
They're like, oh my God, we see you're following Samir and Yudi. You are out of here. The sad part is, like, I understand the question. Like, no, I think I don't think so. I think right now the main social media, it's related to that earlier post, the person about protesting, right? Like, whether or not you agree with what they're doing. At the consulates, we talked about the First Amendment, right? The right to protest, right? That's only if you're in the U.S. Okay, if you're applying for a stamp outside the U.S., you have no constitutional protections, right? So if you're on a student visa, and you are kind of seen as somebody who's protesting one thing in particular, really just one thing, and it's the whole Israel-Gaza situation, okay? And it's mostly anti-Israel bent, right? If that's what you are, associated with, then they're going to come down hard on you. And that's what we know, right? So I'm not so concerned about people. I mean, occasionally you get an officer who will give you a hard time for seeming to be like anti-CBP or anti-ICE and that kind of thing, but that's not what this is. This is just learning about immigration, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm in OPT doing volunteer work for non-profit organization. I wanted to visit India this November. Do you just to go to India, come back to US in 2 weeks? Ooh.
Okay, sorry, I got distracted with my dogs who are trying to
do
their best to protect.
She's in OPT doing volunteer work for non-profit, and she wants to visit India for 2 weeks and come back. But she has she's on OPT for basically unpaid volunteer work for non-profit.
I mean, unpaid work, whether it's for non-profit or not, is allowed under the OPT, right? So I don't see anything here that tells me you're violating your status in any way. So as long as you have a visa stamp and as long as you have an I-20 annotated for travel, and you've checked with your school to make sure all your ducks in a row, I think it should be okay.
Yeah. Okay. On H1B, employment ended yesterday. Is B2 change of status recommended to avoid NTA? When should I file B2? I have interviews lined up in next 15 days.
I would say you can't avoid the NTA. Nothing you can do will stop an NTA from coming. Like I said, I don't know if NTAs are even coming anymore. Okay. But if they are, you want to put yourself in a position where you're protected in case it does come. Okay. If you have interviews lined up in the next 15 days, you have 60 days now in the grace period, right? Try to get one of the, yeah, that's great. They have interviews lined up. I don't know if they're going to move fast enough, but like one of the earlier questions, try to see if you can get the H1B transfer filed during the grace period. Okay. Also try to see, like, is the company going to withdraw the H1B? I don't know. The more I think about it, like if I'm somebody, in this person's situation, I want to have something on file in case an NTA is issued. And in that case, I would say do the B2, right? But this is a matter of your risk tolerance. It's a matter of, like, I can't give a one blanket answer to you, right? And the entire country on this question, because it really depends on a lot of what's happening in your life. How close are you to getting a job? What's the likelihood of a transfer being filed, right? There's a lot of kind of questions that we would probably have to look at in a one-on-one conversation, right? But I think for me, if an NTA is issued, you want to have something on file to show the court that you are in a period of authorized stay, right? So that would be the B2 if you don't think an H1B is going to be filed. And then maybe you decide, I'll let the law firm try to figure out how to change that back to H1B if I get a job, right? I understand that. But this is a personal decision. I can't just give a blanket kind of black and white answer, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Why are they making good people's life harder? Yeah. It's what. Anyway. Bala, he is one of our subscribers. I have third attempt, H1B attempt coming up next year. My company had decided to transfer me to Canada, bring me back on L1B. Is that a good option, or would you recommend day one CPT route?
I never recommend day one CPT anymore. Even before the new rules, the new proposed rule. I just think day one CPT is going to be next in the chopping block, and I worry about those that are on it right now. Knowing this administration, kind of what they're trying to do to gut F1 programs, right? So I think it's risky. I would say if you have a company that's willing to offshore you and bring you back on L1, and you're able to, once again, this is a personal question, right? Like, what kind of impact is this going to be on your life? Do you have a family here? Like, all this stuff. But if it's more or less like you feel like you can swing it, I probably would do that. I feel like think long term. The L1, by the way, when you come out on the L1, you're going to have to keep trying for the H1 after you get here, because L1's only 5 years. That won't be only 5 years, right? So, but it's more secure. It is tied to the company, but it's more secure than the day one CPT in my view. And it gives you 5 years versus the day one CPT, which is just you're just buying a year, maybe a little more.
And you have to pay, and you have to study.
And you got to pay a ton of money. Exactly.
And I know, I've done podcasts with him, so I know he has a good profile for O1 because he's in one of the research-based security firm, cybersecurity space. So
you should talk to, I'm happy to talk to you about this, but you should try to convince them to do O1 for you. Like a lot of companies, like they worry about the O1, like many of you do. They're like, oh, isn't that supposed to be for like Nobel Prize winners? Like they also have a misconception. Some of their law firms have a misconception about it.
In his case, when companies willing to, offshore him to Canada and bring him back, they might be also willing to do O1 for him.
Not necessarily. The offshoring process is something that a lot of companies, companies talk to each other, right? What are you doing? What are you doing? And they all kind of agree, like this is kind of like a thing that they can do, they feel comfortable with, right? If their internal systems allow for it. They get scared of the O1 often because it just doesn't come up very often. We're trying to change that. I feel like that's slowly changing now.
Yeah.
I would certainly bring it up and see if you can advocate for yourself. Make sure you have your profile kind of set up and explain to the law firm why you meet and how you meet each of the categories. And more companies and law firms are becoming open to the idea of an O1.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. A company would much rather keep you here if they can. Like it is still disruptive to send you to a different country, right? So if there's a way to keep you here, it's like net cheaper than I believe an assignment abroad would be.
Yep. Are there any changes to employer criteria requirements who can file H1B for their employer as per wage based? Would love to get any insight on choosing H1B employers if the filing comes into the play.
I would say, I understand where you're coming from. First of all, we don't know any of these roles. I would just question the premise of this. Like, I don't know if this is the right time to be like, I don't know if anyone's in a position to choose H1B employers, right? Not until I feel like you have a substantial amount of experience in your belt and these employers are coming after you, right?
Yeah.
If you are in the market, you're just trying to get an H1B, I just try to get the best possible job you can, okay? All this wage-based stuff is all hypothetical for now. It may not even happen. Like I talked about at the top of the show, like I believe it's actually illegal. So it can get challenged and overturned in court, right? So I would not make decisions based on this rule. I would just do the best you can to get the best possible job and just do what you can on your end to position yourself in the best possible way.
Yeah. Okay. He's from Egypt. So the EB3 guy. Okay.
That's like on my bucket list to go there.
Nice. Okay.
I'd love to go to Egypt. Yeah.
Things to be careful of after transitioning from H1B to green card, especially with respect to work outside my master's degree field and travel.
Yeah. So I'll keep this kind of short. When you apply for a green card, it's so confusing. This is the other weird thing the government does. Visa is about your job right now, like the visa sponsorship. Green card sponsorship is about your job once you get a green card. So if you're an Indian national, it's like all the perm I-140 stuff. That's a promise that they'll employ you when you get your green card doing those things in 150 years. Like, it makes no sense at this point, right? But that's basically how the green card kind of process is set up, right? And so it ties into this question, because once you get a green card, there is this idea that you're supposed to be doing what you said you're going to be doing, right? And so you should be doing that for at least some time after you get your green card. We generally say 6 months. Okay. How will it come up when you apply for citizenship? Sometimes they go back and check, right? Sometimes you get the officer who's really, really thorough and likes to go back and wants to make sure that you've maintained your green card status the whole time, because they would like nothing more than take a green card away from you too, right? And so they'll make that inquiry, right? So, but then if 6 months pass, and then at that point, it's an intent requirement, right? So it's like your intent can change over time, right? But if you change your job completely on day one of your green card, then it seems like you never had the intent to do that once you got your green card, right? So as a rule of thumb, we say 6 months.
Yeah. All right, last question. Planning to apply for citizenship. I have been doing volunteering work for past 1 year. Is anything else I need to do as a part of my GMC requirement?
Bob, I feel for anybody applying for citizenship right now, I'm sending the most like ridiculous emails to our clients saying, hey, as part of the good moral character new requirement, now we have to basically show that your neighborhood and your community thinks highly of you, which I'm just like, okay, this can go wrong in so many different ways. Like, I don't even want so what am I talking about? There's this new kind of rule, right? Like, you have to not only show that you're not bad, now you have to show you're good. Okay. Making it kind of more within the discretion of the officer to make that decision. If they don't feel like they have enough information, they would authorize a neighborhood investigation. They'll come talk to your neighbors to ask about you. Okay. So you want to avoid that by overwhelming them with information that they can use to make that determination at the interview, so they don't have to do the neighborhood investigation. And that should be the strategy. So what are those things? Those are, show that you paid your taxes for 5 years. So you're upstanding, you've been paying your taxes, bring your tax returns. Get letters from your employers talking about what a good employee you are or were, right? Letters if you're part of like a denomination, some sort of church or temple or mosque or whatever it is. A letter from a clergy person, right? Talking about you're an upstanding member of the community. Any evidence of any kind of extracurricular volunteer stuff that you do. If you're married and you have children, evidence, letter from your spouse showing what a great parent you are. Look at all the things you do for your kids. I'm serious. This is like what you,
Yeah.
yeah. These are the things you have to submit now
Yeah.
to prove that you have good moral character.
Mhm.
Academic degrees to show I'm educated. I'm doing what I can to be an upstanding member of this community. Right? Things like that.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we'll call it. Thank you, Samir, for doing this. And again, we will meet next week, same time, 1 p.m. California time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Samir, thank you so much for doing this. And thank you, everybody.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Take care. Enjoy North Carolina.
Yes.